It's time for ROTD Weekend. Christmas and Hanukkah are just 2.5 weeks away, and while a lot of the daily episodes on this show are focusing on like recipe ideas and things that you can be choosing and making for your big holiday meals, today I wanted to talk about what you can be making on just your everyday weeknights right now, because I know how busy you are. I am feeling it too. It is just this like end of year crunch for school stuff, for work stuff, for all kinds of family stuff going on. Like, this is just that crunch time, right? So yes, obviously, you will need to be planning for your big holiday dinners and anything like that you're doing. But in the meantime, what is a great strategy for deciding on what you're making just like tonight? One of my favorite strategies for like meal planning or trying to decide what to make, like when I wander into a grocery store and I'm like, what am I getting for dinner tonight? Is the side dish solution. So quite often, like if I'm wandering into a grocery store thinking, oh gosh, I need to get something for dinner tonight, because I'm not a vegetarian, I'm a meat eater, I often will like go to the meat section first and like choose the meat, or I'll think, oh, we had chicken yesterday, so maybe we'll do salmon tonight. And so I'm starting from there, but then that leaves like everything else to kind of fill in, and it's a little daunting and a little bit harder, right? And so the strategy that I prefer actually is to instead think first of a great side dish. Then, if it's a great side dish, it already has some idea and theme built into it. For instance, if we chose the Italian roasted cauliflower from Cook the Story. So we're going to do Italian roasted cauliflower. Well, now that is already a very interesting component to the meal. It's easy, but it's interesting. It's got a lot of flavor. So the rest of the meal doesn't have to be as interesting or full of lots of stuff going on, right? So then maybe you're just going to do some chicken, maybe a little pesto spread onto it right at the end, or a little mozzarella cheese to kind of go with that cauliflower, and then just some rice or some leftover pasta or something like that for like a grain carbohydrate, some garlic toast, anything along those lines, maybe just a little salad. So you see, once you start with that side dish, you can fill out the rest of the meal much more quickly. Whereas if you'd started with the, I'm going to have chicken, well, now you're still like, okay, what am I going to do to the chicken? And then what am I going to have with chicken? So you see, starting with that side dish idea can be the way in to more quickly figure out what you're making. And with it being this time of year, choosing those side dishes to be sort of like festive holiday kinds of things will actually help your meals have that sort of theme without a lot of effort for you. So for instance, you could do those butternut squash in the air fryer with the seeds that I was telling you about, right? Little maple drizzle on there. That's going to be just wonderful with like some pork chops, or, oh, you know what I just thought? I was thinking about the butternut squash, and that made me think about, you know, how sometimes you get like gnocchi or that kind of pasta that's served in like a squash based sauce. So doing like a sheet pan chicken and gnocchi and then having that roasted butternut squash on the side, the air fryer butternut squash, that would be delicious. Another wonderful place to start would be with like some Parmesan roasted potatoes. So you have like Parmesan cheese on a sheet pan and potatoes on top, and the cheese kind of browns and gets crispy, and the potatoes. And then you can have that with anything, a rotisserie chicken and some salad, right? So you start with that great side dish idea, something cozy and comforting for this time of year, and then go from there. Another thing that I will suggest is kind of one of my like blows my mind all the time, and I'm so happy I did it, is to have some toasted panko breadcrumbs in the freezer. I will link to a recipe for you in the show notes, or go to cookthestory.com and search for it. But it's just those like really crispy panko breadcrumbs that you toast up with some butter, olive oil, and season them a little bit. Just not like super flavor profiled in any certain direction, so that you can use them with a whole bunch of different things. And those go in the freezer in a little container, and anytime you want to use them, you just scoop some out of there, and you can sprinkle them on anything to make it more delicious. It's of course wonderful in all kinds of proteins, but also over pastas, over veggies. Anytime you're just like, oh, dinner was boring, I can't think of anything, get out those breadcrumbs, sprinkle them all over, and everybody's going to be happy. Another thing that you can just sprinkle all over your food to make everyone happy is coming to us from my guest today. I am speaking with Chef Mareya. You might know her as the Fit Foodie, or from the podcast The Real Dish, or as the inventor of Eat Cleaner fruit and veggie wash and wipes. Mareya has a new product on the market that is so excited. The superfood sprinkle that you sprinkle all over your food for so much flavor. I love this so much. I have the two flavors and I have gifted the two flavors to my mom as well because I love it so much. If you are looking for a great present for the holidays, for somebody who loves food and loves healthy ingredients, it is a perfect gift. As soon as I heard about it, I ordered it and tried it, and then I had to speak with Mareya, and now she is on the show to tell us more about it. Here is our conversation about Superfood Sprinkle. Hello, Chef Mareya. Welcome to the show.
So good to be here with you, Christine.
It's lovely to talk with you again. Now, since we last spoke, so at that point you had this amazing business. You're the inventor of Eat Cleaner. And since then you've come up with a completely new product that's on the market that is, I saw it on our Facebook feed and I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I have to talk with her immediately. And so now we're talking.
Right.
So tell us about this new product.
Yeah, Superfood Sprinkle. And I'm so excited about it for so many different reasons. You know, it really helps to season your food in a very robust way, but you're adding over 300 phytonutrients, antioxidants, and adaptogens, and vitamins and minerals, and, you know, these really powerful ingredients that, you know, quite frankly, it's really hard to get all of that from just your food alone. And we know nowadays our soil is really stripped of a lot of those vital nutrients. And, you know, a lot of the degenerative diseases that we're seeing are caused by inflammation. So with just a sprinkle, you can add so many wonderful anti-inflammatory ingredients. And it's so much better than popping a pill, right?
Yeah.
But I was really inspired by my trip to Egypt in January. You know, I'm from Egypt, Christine, and I haven't been back in over 20 years. But when I went back, we went to the spice markets in Upper Egypt and Aswan. And I was just reminded of just for thousands of years, you know, ancient wisdom leaning into everything in nature for what ails you. And I was just so enchanted by these markets. And I was reacquainted with black cumin seed. And, you know, I mention it in my book, Eat Like You Give a Fork. And it just kind of reaffirmed to me that there's an opportunity to bring this back to people. So that's really what inspired me. And black cumin seed is the primary ingredient in the blends. But I'm just super stoked for people to be able to try it. And we say elevate your plate.
Oh.
So elevate your plate with every sprinkle.
That is fascinating. So, okay, black cumin seed. I have not heard of this other than when I was researching your product. So is it a cumin seed? Is it related to cumin we know?
Different. So black cumin seed more resembles like a fennel or an anise seed, and it contains a very unique phytonutrient called thymoquinone. And thymoquinone only exists in black cumin seeds. So it's very, very unique. It's been connected with shrinking cancer tumors, with helping people with diabetes, managing blood sugar. It helps with your digestion. It helps with asthma. It helps with skin issues. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's wonderful for metabolism, inflammation, has even been linked to weight management where it helps to trigger satiety. So in a study that was conducted in a double-blind control where one set was given just, you know, food, and then another set was given food with the cumin seed on, you know, sprinkled on it, ate 30% less calories.
Wow.
So I think there are just, you know, so many different wonderful attributes to it. And it has a really distinctive, unique taste. And so when you eat it, you're like, wow, that's unique. I've never had this before, but I really like it. And in this blend where you have other umami ingredients, you have black and white sesame seeds for a little nuttiness and texture. You've got nutritional yeast, which is a superfood powerhouse containing glutathione, which is the master antioxidant, which our body is made up mostly of glutathione when it comes to antioxidants. So that's a wonderful way to get it. also B vitamins and protein, and many, many other ingredients and different ingredients in each blend. But yeah, I mean, I spent, about 6 months developing these blends based on what I felt would be, a nice mixture of different ingredients. So you've got the good fats in the sesame seeds and the black cumin seed. You've got the protein in the nutritional yeast. We've got adaptogens in 3 different types of functional mushrooms. There's lion's mane, chaga, and reishi,
Oh.
which are incredible for brain health.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got my brain health coaching certification earlier this year through Amen University. And the connection between your brain and your gut in the gut brain axis is just so critical for people to understand. When you take care of your brain, you take care of your gut and vice versa. And you really can't have vitality and overall health without those. So just so many great functional ingredients that happen to taste delicious.
So yes, of course, you are a chef and you're amazing at creating recipes and delicious food. Like, I know you can't exactly tell me what it tastes like, but is there anything comparable? Like, and is it, I guess I'm getting like umami probably from the mushrooms. Like, yeah, what is that kind of flavor profile like on there?
Yeah, that's so good. I'm so glad you asked. We have 2 blends to start. We've got the Chef's Kiss, which is, you can call that the original blend. And you hit it on the nail when you said umami. It's very umami. It's got a little bit of a peppery finish. And it just, I call it like the soulmate to your plate. It just kind of adds that special something, a little bit of sunshine and brightness, and, just with that subtle peppery finish. So it really just kind of seals the deal. And that's why I call it the chef's kiss. And then the hot stuff has a little kick. So imagine the umami and all of that, savoriness with just that little kick from the cayenne pepper and black mustard. And just enough kick, not too spicy. So it's kind of the rally cry for, kickstarting your palate. And it goes beautifully with eggs. I really love it on proteins. I have a recipe on my website for a crusted chicken tender, because even adults like chicken tenders.
Very true.
And we add we use tortilla chips, and then we add the spicy, the hot stuff superfood sprinkle, and it's just like that perfect kick for the crust.
I love that. So how much do you need, like, in a day of this to be getting the benefits from it?
So, and I'm going to talk specifically about the black cumin seed because that is the primary ingredient, and that's kind of the real focus of the functional benefits. Studies show that if you get about half a teaspoon of the black cumin seed per day, you're getting the therapeutic benefits from it. So if you get half a teaspoon a couple times a day, 2 to 3 times a day of the superfood sprinkle, you've then met your requirements. So what does that look like? Half of a teaspoon on your eggs or avocado toast in the morning, half a teaspoon tossed with your popcorn as an evening snack, half a teaspoon on your fish or on your, tempeh or sprinkled on your rice. There's lots of different ways to be able to add it throughout the day. And I've created these blends and I'm calling them your one and done. You don't have to lean into salt and pepper because they're already in there. We already have Himalayan pink salt and we already have ground black pepper, and you're already getting a little pepperiness from the black cumin seed also. So you don't even have to lean into any other spices in your spice cabinet. You sort of have your one and done blend. So anytime you're cooking something, or even if you have something prepared, I have a customer who tells me she travels with it. She puts the container in her purse, and anytime she goes out to eat, she just sprinkles it right onto her plate. You have that easy add-on, that one and done solution.
And I know this is true of some ingredients. Sometimes heating it or having it boiled or heated, does that diminish any of the nutritional benefits, or not really?
I mean, it may. When it comes to antioxidants, you want to try and keep those as, non-heated as possible. So we do suggest that if you're going to, use them in your cooking. Maybe you sprinkle it on top as well, because it's really wonderful to cook with them and add them in as an integral part of, if you're making a sauce or you're making a dressing or, anything that you're actually cooking. But then I like to sprinkle it on also because visually it gives it a really pretty appearance. It's kind of like furikake. If people are familiar with Japanese seasonings that you'll find on sushi or like a poke bowl, it kind of gives you that appearance in the kelp flake and the sesame seeds and stuff.
Mm.
And it got turmeric in it, so it's got that beautiful yellow color.
Oh.
So visually it's very pretty, and that way you're getting the full functional benefit of it being uncooked as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you can, for the flavor, cook with it, but if you want the full nutritional benefits, make sure you're having it uncooked as well.
Correct.
Well, we've already talked about this. You and I am ordering some today, and I cannot wait to try it.
I'm so excited for you to try it. Christine, I am so this is such a heart project for me because we're donating 1% of all sales back to the farmers in Egypt that grow the black cumin seed. And their standard of living is, if they make $500 a year, they are doing very, very well. So a little bit's going to really go a long way to helping them and helping to support generations to come, educating them. My grand dream is to open up schools for the children of these farmers in rural areas that just don't have the means, and they end up starting work at 8 and 9 years old. So it's just really a beautiful, heartfelt passion project for me as well as delivering what I think will be something so beneficial for people's health. Because again, over 60% of the inflammatory diseases that we're seeing on the rise right now can be reversed with better diets, lifestyle habits, and just taking care of our health as a preventative measure. And that really happens on the end of your fork. So it just means so much to me. And the reviews, we've only gotten 5-star reviews. It's incredible. It just really makes me so happy.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. That is
Thank
so
you.
good to
Thank
hear.
you.
I'm so excited for your success and seeing how this does. You're popularizing an ingredient to us all as well, which is, it's not often that you hear about a new ingredient that tastes great and has all these benefits,
It's got such an interesting storied history. It was found in the tomb of King Tut for his journey to the afterlife. It was so, considered so valuable. It's mentioned in the Bible in Isaiah. It's, it was referred to as the cure-all by Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine. And even in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad called it, the cure for everything but death. So it's been passed on from generation to generation. And in ancient practices, it was used so much, but for whatever reason, we lost connection with it. And I'm hoping to revive it because I truly believe this unique, phytonutrient called thymoquinone has the ability to do so much good.
Yeah, no, it's so, so exciting. I will just everybody know the link to the superfood sprinkle is in the show notes for sure, but you can also just Google for those words and it shows up right up there. So you got to try it. Now, Mareya, have you brought a recipe to tell me about today?
Oh, yes, I sure have. This is from my book, Eat Like You Give a Fork, The Real Dish on Eating to Thrive. I've been making this dessert for ages. I mean, it feels like 2 decades or so. And it's the dark chocolate avocado mousse with raspberry coulis and coconut whip.
Wow.
And it sounds very fancy, but it's literally 7 ingredients. So it's not that complicated. And you're creating a dark chocolate mousse without any heavy cream or any dairy to speak of. It's just avocado, 1 large ripe avocado, the riper the better, 1/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk or coconut milk, just any kind of unsweetened milk, and then 1/4 cup of granulated stevia. And you're going to process those in a food processor until you get them nice and smooth. And it's going to look like the most decadent creamy chocolate mousse. No one will ever know that there's avocado in there.
Really? You can't taste?
And then we're making a raspberry coulis with 1 cup of fresh raspberries, a teaspoon of granulated stevia, and 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice. And you're just cooking those down and reducing them until they create a nice sturdy sauce. And then you can buy a prepared coconut whip, or you can use heavy coconut cream, just the full fat coconut cream, and whip that until you get a nice fluffy whipped topping. And if you want, you can dust it with a little bit of ground cinnamon or some shredded coconut. You can even do just another little dollop of the coconut whip, or some just whole fresh raspberries. And it's so pretty. It's so festive. It's got the bright red in it, so it's perfect for holidays, and it satisfies your sweet tooth with all functional ingredients.
Oh, I love that. I'm so intrigued, though. Okay, there's so many things that I need to know. First of all, can you taste the avocado at all?
Not at all. No one will ever know. In fact, let me just tell you, I have maybe one of the pickiest children on the planet, and he's very visual. So if he sees me doing something, he's going to say something. So I prepare this and I don't let him see what I'm doing. And I just say it's a chocolate mousse. And he has never questioned me on it. The minute he knows there's avocado in it, he's not going to eat it again. But the fact that he's never seen me put it in there and eats it, like, doesn't even question, it just tastes like a dark chocolate mousse.
Okay, that's amazing. And then the coconut whip. I didn't know. So you said coconut milk, coconut cream. I didn't know that
full fat coconut cream. So if you do the canned full fat coconut cream and whip that in a very cold bowl, you'll get a nice frothy coconut whip. Or you can purchase at the store already pre-made. There are a couple of brands out there that do a keto friendly, so they're not adding sugar to their coconut whip. You can actually buy it already pre-made. And sometimes in a pinch, I'll do that, not a problem, but it's very, very good. So you've got a very low sugar, if not zero sugar. You're just getting the sugar from raspberries, really. And that's just plant-based sugar. So
yeah. And so the coconut, when you're whipping it, does it whip up like whipped cream, or is it more like a frothy whip? What is
it's a little bit frothy, not quite as, I wouldn't say it's quite as firm as like a dairy whipped cream, but it still does the trick.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. I'm going to try all of this because, I'm this person when it comes to cooking that it's not that I don't believe you, but if I'm surprised and intrigued, I have to make it myself to find out if it's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really can't taste the avocado.
If you like it a little bit sturdier, I always advise adding just a pinch of cream of tartar. That's going to give it a little bit more body. Like when I do aquafaba, and I'll take the water from garbanzo beans and I'll whip that. And you can turn that into a whipped cream too, by the way. So you don't do any tree nuts. That's another option. Do the aquafaba, add a pinch, like a teaspoon to every cup of the actual liquid of aquafaba, add a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and that'll whip up into a true whipped cream.
Oh, I love that idea. That is so cool.
With some sweetener. Got to make sure you add some sweetener,
because
otherwise it's it tastes like bean juice.
Yeah.
But add a little bit of your stevia or monk fruit and you'll get a nice whip too.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. Well, Mareya, can you tell people where they can find you online if they want to get the superfood sprinkle or check out your cookbook? Where is the best place for them to go?
Yeah. The central location is chefmareya.com. That's CHEFMAREYA. You'll find my podcast, The Real Dish. You'll find the book. You'll find the Superfood Sprinkle. And then if you want to dive deeper into Superfood Sprinkle, it'll actually take you to the website, which is mysuperfoodsprinkle.com. And I hang out on Instagram a lot at Chef Mareya and also on Facebook.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mareya. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I love it. So now we have a healthy dessert idea as well to go with our side dish solution and our panko breadcrumbs and the superfood sprinkle. So many great ideas to make our meals delicious at this time of year. Thank you, Chef Mareya, and everybody go and check out the Superfood Sprinkle. And I just want to say that there's not actually any kind of sponsorship relationship between Superfood Sprinkle, Chef Mareya, and me or anything like that. I actually just legitimately love this. And I'll tell you what I love it for more than anything is when I am making myself a quick breakfast or lunch and I just want to add some pizzazz to it, but I'm not like cooking a meal like for my family or anything like that. I just grab it and sprinkle it on there. It tastes amazing, both of the flavors. And then I just know that I'm getting some great seasoning and possibly some really good health benefits too. The things I put it on most often, I will quite regularly have like a sauteed mushroom and zucchini mixture topped with egg whites for like breakfast or lunch. And I'll sprinkle that on there with like some red onion. And that is one of my go-tos. I have been putting it in cottage cheese to use as a dip for celery and carrots and cucumbers. And I've been adding it to my like quick vinaigrette salad kind of thing. I'll put like a bunch of salad greens in a bowl with a little bit of red wine vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, and then like a couple pinches of the seasoning blend. And yeah, it tastes really, really good. And it's just grab and go and use, which I love. So make sure you go and check that out and consider it as a really nice gift for a food lover in your life. Great job, Chef Mareya. I love it. And I'm so excited for you and this new venture. Okay, now I'm going to turn to what is going on in my test kitchen. What am I working on these days? And actually, one of the recipes is vaguely related to the superfood sprinkle in that I sprinkle it onto this quite often. So it's one of my new obsessions that I started making 3 or 4 months ago just for myself and then realized that I need to do a recipe for it. And that is whipped cottage cheese. Full of protein, but you put it in like a food processor and blend it a lot until it's like really, really smooth and it's delicious. And I dip all kinds of things in there. Veggies, if you do a more sweet profile one, it's great with fruit. I usually am doing veggies or pita and I love it with a chili oil or with the superfood sprinkle. That is totally what I've been doing. So that is the whipped cottage cheese. I'm finishing off developing that recipe and doing the photographs and the video for that this week, as well as a recipe for the chili oil that I often serve on top of it. It's like chili and garlic simmered in oil, and then that goes on top of the whipped cottage cheese. So those are recipes that I'm working on that'll probably be going live in like January in time for like healthy game day food and snacks, that sort of idea. And I am also still working on some chicken wing recipes. I told you a little while ago that I am overhauling the chicken wing recipes on the Cookful, retesting a bunch of them, doing new photos and videos for a bunch of them. So that is part of what I am working on. I think my favorite so far is the lemon pepper wings that I've been working on. Those have both a store-bought lemon pepper seasoning and then they're finished with butter, lemon zest, and fresh cracked black pepper. And oh, they're addictive and crispy too. Like I'm doing a lot of that like baking powder technique. And really, I'm also working on a chicken wing brine that incorporates the baking powder. So you're getting that like change of the pH to make the skin crisp up more. And also the salt kind of getting right into the meat. Oh, they're so good. I just did them last week, I think, with some of that pizza seasoning from the Cookful. They were so good. My son said they were the best wings I'd ever made. So those were the brined chicken wings that are brined in baking powder and salt and then baked and then tossed with the pizza seasoning. Oh, really, really nice. So that is what is going on in my kitchen this week for the websites. And those are, of course, things that I'm working on for like January. As to what is going live on the sites this week, we are still more firmly in December for those sorts of things. So there is a wonderful beef gravy recipe. So I told you about the beef tenderloin that went live last week, and that makes a really nice beef gravy. But I also wanted just a separate beef gravy recipe for whatever kind of roast beef that you're doing. And this one has a little hint of horseradish in it. You can't tell it's there there, but it just makes the beef roast that you pour this on taste so good, so much better. And if you're serving horseradish with the roast, then it just kind of pulls it all together, you know? So that is going live on Cook the Story this week. And on the Cookful, I have a vanilla bean custard going onto the site. Now, I know I talk about not having the hugest sweet tooth all the time. I do love custards. I love like the stuff that's inside of an eclair more than I love the eclair. You know what I mean? So this is a really nice vanilla bean custard recipe. And the reason that I made this recipe is because I was experimenting with adding it to hot chocolate. So you will hear the results of those experiments coming up soon. But for now, vanilla bean custard is going live on the Cookful this week. And we have beef gravy going live on Cook the Story. And as you might have guessed, I am talking about some of these things on the podcast this week. So there is a new episode of this podcast every single day, 7 days a week. And for each episode, I choose a recipe that is perfect for the time of year, for the day of the week, to help with your dinner indecision. I want to make it easier for you to decide what to make. You can listen to me for a few minutes every day and get ideas for what you're going to make this week or for the upcoming holiday, for that potluck you're going to. So this week, I am telling you about the beef tenderloin roast that went live last week on the site. I'm telling you about the vanilla bean custard, more details about making that. We're also doing a simple syrup, which comes in handy for all of your bartending needs this time of year, and also for some sweet recipes. And I've got a really nice mulled wine for you this week as well. If you're not subscribed to this podcast already, you are missing all these daily episodes. You need to stop that and get all of these ideas, a new one every day. The easiest way to do that is to go on your phone and go to your favorite podcast app and then search for Recipe of the Day, and you will find me there. You can also go to the landing page for this podcast. It has all the information there, all the ways you can subscribe. You can listen right there as well. That is at cookthestory.com/ROTD. I want to say a big thank you to you for listening. And a big thank you to Chef Mareya for being such a great guest. Go and check out the Superfood Sprinkle. You will not regret it. It is so seriously good. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great weekend. Let's get cooking.